speaking of fake victims, out of Allentown, Pennsylvania, about 2 months ago, all right, an Allentown school board official called police because she claimed someone put a noose on her desk in the office. Okay? All right, so if you're not familiar with this story, I'm going to go ahead and play this news clip real quick just to get you up to speed, just to familiarize you with it, because there are some updates that happened today with this story. All right, so without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and get to that news clip. All right, now check this out. This is from 2 months ago.
Well, as we know, dozens of folks voiced outrage in front of Allentown City Hall today. This is an investigation that is continuing into an item resembling a noose that was reportedly found on a city employee's desk. And our Nikki Demetri is got the latest now. She's in Lehigh County with reaction from the city and community leaders about this investigation.
When Black lives are under attack, what do?
A call for action and fight for change.
We will not be silenced.
Community members and leaders made their voices heard in front of Allentown City Hall Monday afternoon.
Just to think that people have to go to work in fear for their lives.
Since Friday, Allentown police continue to investigate an item resembling a noose found on a city employee's desk.
This egregious act is not just an affront to one individual, but it is an attack on the entire community.
Several spoke during a rally, calling for transparency, prevention, and an immediate federal investigation among a list of demands. This incident, community members note, is not the first racial discrimination issue City Hall has dealt with. Josie Lopez is a close friend of the victim.
They're always a community leader, always pushing for equality. They might be bruised right now, but they're not broken.
The victim is not being named due to safety concerns.
Our colleague was threatened. This was an act of terror. This was a hate crime.
Allentown police did not provide many new details Monday, aside from calling out social media claims they say are false, including that the victim's office was ransacked.
The investigation is ongoing and progress is being made. So as of right now, no, the FBI has not been contacted.
City spokesperson Genesis Ortega says the mayor's office has confidence in Allentown police and asks anyone with information to come forward.
The city of Allentown is committed to making sure that every employee enjoys a respectful workplace.
Community leaders are asking the public to attend a council meeting Wednesday night in a show of solidarity. In Allentown, Nikki Demetri, CBS News, Philadelphia.
Now, you seen all that shit. You got activists, people marching, all this shit, right? Now, what's interesting about this is that today, Allentown police completed their investigation of this alleged hate crime. And this is what they had to say. Hold on real quick. This is what they had to say.
Good afternoon. My name is Charles Roca. I'm the Chief of Police of Allentown.
All right, so that's the Chief of Police of Allentown.
I'm joined at the podium by Captain Steve Bilkovitz and Detective Harold Bonzer of our Criminal Investigations Division. The purpose of this press conference is to provide an update regarding the noose investigation. I want to take a moment to thank the following agencies who assisted in this case: the Lehigh County District Attorney's Office, the Pennsylvania State Police Crime Lab, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The Allentown Police Department conducted a thorough investigation, including interviews of persons, analysis of evidence, and consultation with the District Attorney's Office of Lehigh County. As a result of the subsequent investigation, Latarsha Brown was charged with tampering with or fabricating physical evidence, a misdemeanor of the 2nd degree, and false reports to law enforcement, a misdemeanor of the 3rd degree.
Do y'all hear that? Latarsha Brown was charged. Who's Latarsha Brown? Latarsha Brown is the person who made the complaint. Let's let him cook.
As in every criminal case, the fact that a warrant has been issued or a complaint has been filed is merely an accusation. The defendant is presumed innocent until and unless proven guilty in a court of law. I'm now going to ask Captain Milkovich to provide a summation of this investigation.
Good afternoon, everybody. Captain Milkovich, Criminal Investigations Division. On January 10, 2025, at approximately 7:11 a.m., Allentown City employee Latarsha Brown arrived at her office on the third floor of City Hall. At approximately 7:38 a.m., Ms. Brown notified the Allentown Police Department that she discovered what she believed to be a noose on her desk upon arriving at work. Officers assigned to the Community Outreach Unit, Crime Scene Identification Unit, and Criminal Investigations Unit responded, initiating a criminal investigation to identify the individual responsible for placing the noose on Ms. Brown's desk. During the investigation, video surveillance and building access control records were reviewed to identify city employees present on the third floor of City Hall between the time Ms. Brown left for work on the afternoon of January 9, 2025, and her arrival on the morning of January 10th. Those employees were interviewed. Each was asked if they would provide a buccal swab for DNA testing if needed. Every employee agreed, except for Ms. Brown. Initially cooperated.
So, every employee took a DNA test and was interviewed about this incident. The only person who refused to take a DNA test and refused to cooperate with police was Latarsha Brown, the official who made the complaint. I'm gonna let him cook, and then we're gonna break this down.
Ms. Brown later requested that the investigation be discontinued. The noose was submitted to the Pennsylvania State Police Crime Lab for DNA testing on January 14, 2025. On January 24, 2025, a search warrant was approved by the Lehigh County District Attorney's Office for Ms. Brown's DNA, and a DNA sample was obtained that same day. On January 27, 2025, Ms. Brown's buccal swab was submitted to the Bethlehem Regional Crime Lab of the Pennsylvania State Police for comparison with DNA profiles recovered from the noose. On March 10, 2025, the Forensic DNA Division of the Pennsylvania State Police issued a written report indicating that Ms. Brown's DNA matched the DNA profile obtained from the swabs of both the outer surface and inner knotted portion of the noose.
I mean, at this point, there it is, man. There it is. At this point, y'all gotta know that absolutely no one in their right mind is taking us seriously. This is why I focus on being a good American and not really worrying about identifying with the quote unquote black community, because it's completely cooked. It's completely cooked and almost mathematically impossible to repair at this point. We are so busy trying to make villains out of modern day white people that we completely ignore the fact that it is still our responsibility to repair and maintain our own community. Niggas would rather lie and make up some imaginary racial event just for clout. They would rather lie and make up an imaginary event just for clout rather than put in work to obtain their objectives the correct way. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, this young lady, Latarsha Brown, was running for, I think she was running for like chairman of the Board of Education or something like that. Or she's in the running for it or was in the running for it. And then all of a sudden, this event pops up out of nowhere. But yeah, niggas don't want to do shit the correct way. And to be honest, When I first heard this story 2 months ago, it didn't make any sense to me then, right? Why would some random white person who works in a job setting like that risk their entire career and their future, and the future of their family, to make a statement that means nothing at the end of the day? Listen, white people are probably much smarter than that. If a white person wants to ruin your life, they can go about this in a much more slicker and more effective way. Okay, dropping a noose on your desk does nothing but give you clout at the end of the day. It gives you clout. So it works, pretty much works against everything that if they were just some crazy racist white person out on a rampage, it goes against everything they're trying to accomplish. See, what they'd actually do is, if they really wanted to ruin your life, they set you up and put you in a situation where you can lose your job, like gaslighting your emotional ass into a physical altercation. I've seen it happen millions of times. But leaving a noose, trust me, no one would do that. No one would do that. They would bait you in so you do something stupid and get yourself fired and turn themselves into the victim. That's the way they do it. But anyways, yeah, this is just one more L on a long list of L's that the community is going to have to continue to take, because at the end of the day, accountability is something that we lack as a collective.